Well, my friends, that is the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. And today we are going to dive into how it messes with all of us. And the bottom line of the Dunning-Kruger effect is when people that have a low skill and ability to do something really overestimate how good they are at stuff, while people that are actually good at something underestimates how good they are. Personally, after getting to know about this thing, I started to freak out a bit because I was like, how am I supposed to know where I'm at on this scale? How do I know if I suck at something but think I'm good? And how do I know if I'm actually good but underestimate how good I am? I mean, how will my brain actually compute this information and get the right answer? But usually if you're just a little bit humble and maybe don't hold so hard on your beliefs, and maybe once in a while ask yourself, well, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but so how do we actually start to try and figure out where on the scale of actual dumbass to super skilled we actually are? Usually it goes like this. You go into something that you're interested in and you start learning about it. And when you start to learn about something, you are going from, I don't know anything to now I know some. And nothing to some knowledge feels like a lot of knowledge. So then you're at like peak most stupid because you feel like you have a lot of knowledge and now you know a lot of stuff. Here it's very easy that you overestimate how much you know and your skill. And I think it's very common that you, for example, when you've watched like a couple of YouTube videos on something, you start to feel maybe not like an expert, but right up there. Right up there. So how do you know if you're standing there on the top of peak stupid? Well, if you start to ask questions, or if you just imagine someone asking you questions, could you answer them? Do you have, then it will become very apparent that you don't have the knowledge internally, that you don't have the deep experience and knowledge. You're just repeating information that you just heard on YouTube. And after that, somewhere when you get, the first rush of knowledge where you're like, oh my God, I actually know this. And then you start to, learn a little bit more. And you start to realize that, holy shit, there's so much to know. And I don't know anything. And you end up in the valley of despair because you now feel like you know nothing. Even though you do know even more than you did on, peak of Mount Stupid, when you're down here. You do know things, but you severely underestimate your skill and your knowledge. This is where, we feel very much self-doubt and find it really hard to put a value on the things that we do know and that we do, because we know that there is, I have, gone a bit on the path, but there is just so much more that I don't know. When you are down here, it's time to not give up. Keep, gaining experience, keep learning things, and you will slowly start to climb up. And it will feel like you will get more and more enlightenment. And if you just keep being humble and keep learning, you will eventually get onto the top, on the other side of the valley, where you have insight, you can reflect on the path that, yes, I went from knowing nothing to knowing something, and then I realized there's so much more to learn. And if you just keep your mind open to that, be, humble, you will be just fine. You will reach, a plateau of stability where you can rest in the knowledge that you have. You can be more confident in the knowledge that you have and the experience that you have. So when people ask you questions, then that's a cue that when people start to ask you things about the things that you know something about, you can answer them without, you don't have to rush to Google and on your computer, or go to YouTube to find a tutorial. When you start to have that internal knowledge and experience, and you can puzzle pieces together, and you can basically deliver your knowledge and your skills in a more of a flowy way. One thing to remember here, when you have gone through the valley and you come up on the other side, you also have a completely different respect of the things that you don't know, and you feel more confident in the things that you know. So you can, lean back and just say, I don't know. When you don't know the answer to something, it doesn't crush your self-esteem to say, I don't know. Your self-esteem still rests on the thing that you do know. Okay guys, we're not done talking about this, but let's go outside because the sun is shining and I am a sun-deprived Swede who hasn't seen the sun for a couple of months almost. Okay, so how do you get to this magical place of self-awareness? How can the Dunning-Kruger effect affect your efforts to slow down your life and rewild your life? Well, for one thing, maybe you start to, make some effort, try to slow down your life, start to do more adventurous things like getting out into nature, maybe camping, and really, you start to climb up the peak and you feel like, well, this is gonna be fine. I'm good. And then after a while, when you're gonna sustain the changes that you have made, you start to realize that, frick, this was actually hard. And it's not really supported either by modern society to not be always reachable, or to take the time for yourself to just be unreachable, for example. And then you're gonna wanna quit. And that's because, it's hard to go against society and what everybody else does, and also, unlearning the things that are probably very deeply ingrained in your behavior and what you do on a daily basis. And what you need to do in that, or what I think that you need to do in that, when you reach that plateau or that place, we need to embrace the discomfort, which is also, it sounds all, heroic and like something that you just do. But when you're standing there, trying to do it is really hard. We just have to, do some work with ourselves and accept that it will be hard, and it will be difficult, and you will feel discomfort. And a way to, ease into it is, of course, to, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? Piece by piece. You gotta cut your behavioral changes and, you learning new things into smaller efforts, so that it won't be as difficult for you. So they feel like something that you will actually be able to finish. And another thing that I feel is really important, and that we really don't have any patience at all with this, is accepting that changing how you think, how you act, learning new skills, it will be difficult and it will probably take some time. And for most of us by now, we're used to, you can get food. Well, I can't because I live in the countryside, but you can get like food, a grocery, you can get probably anything just to your door if you live in a city. I have heard that you can get it in like an hour. You don't really have to wait for anything anymore. And that's something patience and waiting for stuff is actually a skill that we need to practice if we want to live a slower life. And another thing that I'm thinking about that I have fallen into so hard is the all or nothing. And this idea of the perfect slow life or wild life that you are aspiring to create, this idea of it will make it impossible. We need to celebrate all the small wins and don't beat yourself up if you still use social media. I mean, I still do. If you still have your 9 to 5, I still do. I mean, maybe you don't even want to quit your 9 to 5. I mean, you have to like reframe and create your own vision of what you want this to be. It's still worth the effort, even if, I mean, the all or nothing mentality won't get you anywhere. And connected to that, we also have the comparing yourself to others and their journey. And I mean, you can feel so discouraged, or like the thing you're doing isn't good enough when you're like struggling to not check your social media every 6th minute. And others are, you know, they don't even have a smartphone, or they have no social media on their phone at all, or I don't know, it's like, you know, they are further along on their journey, and therefore your efforts feel small and useless, which they aren't. You have to be able to separate those things and really be able to, you know, coach yourself through that. You know, comparing yourself and your own journey to somebody else's is always a, you know, a sketchy path to go down, because we all have, you know, different contexts, we have different possibilities, different starting points, and that have to be taken into consideration. So maybe instead you can try and turn that comparison into like being inspired by it instead, and maybe drawing some inspiration, like, oh yeah, this person did this, maybe I can do that, or I can do it in this way to make it fit my person and the life that I'm living. And if that doesn't help, because again, that all sounds like so nice and like the real, you know, clever thing to do, but it's not easy at all. That's not where your brain goes, so to say. I just find that, you know, just unplug, go outside, leave your freaking phone at home. It will I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's gonna solve your problem. At least the immediate feeling of not doing enough. I mean, being out in nature without your phone and something external poking at your attention is comforting. If you find yourself, you know, learning a little bit and you're maybe around the peak of Mount Stupid, you will overestimate how much you can accomplish, at least how much you will accomplish in a short amount of time. And this is, you know, so common. Everybody does this. We always overestimate how much we will get done in a very short time period, and we underestimate how much we will get done in a longer time period. And this is also why I strive to slow down my life and rewild it to, you know, get a better grip on time. Because I have also this idea that I have no patience. I want everything to happen right now, if not yesterday. And when something doesn't happen now, when it has been like a week, to me that is like oceans of time. I just can't believe that whatever it is I want to do haven't happened yet. But then, I mean, if you start to look back at your life and you think maybe like a 5 or 10 year even time frame, I mean, just you'll see how much moves you've made. You know, if you have ever been to a Nordic country around this time of the year, as soon as the sun is out, you will see us do this. You know, we can just sit outside like this for hours. Preferably like this, like in a snow cave with a sofa made of snow, or just, you know, against a wall, a south-facing wall. If you find these kinds of talks interesting, I would love you to just subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. They're really interesting to me. I love talking to you guys. You guys are the best. And I have a Patreon page as well that you can join, both for free, and I have a paid membership as well. You hit the link down below in the description, and I'm just gonna continue sitting here today. I think I won't be making any moves. I won't be making a lot of moves today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.